Competing, my way or the highway. Dun, 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 dun. I love this one. Right, this is high assertive, looking after my own needs and wishes. And actually, as I said, there are good reasons for wanting to do this. It's high on the assertiveness, low on cooperativeness. It's very much about what I want, what I need. And it could be what I want and what I need for my team. So it could be that you're a manager and you're needing to compete when you go to the board to actually ask for that budget that you need for the team to do this particular job. So, as I said, there are consequences of if you overuse competing. What do you think might happen? If you're always competing.
Not perceived as a team player.
Not perceived as a team player, yeah, for sure. What's going to happen with your maybe direct reports or suppliers or people who you're always competing with? What will happen to them? What do you think they'll do?
They'll get demotivated.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, the chances are that they'll end up doing the exact opposite, which is accommodate or avoid. So your behaviour is actually going to push them into what they're going to do is, lack of feedback, reduced learning, and low empowerment. And they're going to say, yeah, sure, that's what you want. Yeah, no worries, that's absolutely okay. So just to give you a quick example of that, could you just pair up with somebody for a minute? I'm going to show you what I'm looking for. Alison, I'm going to pair up with you for a second. So just get with somebody and put your hand against their hand. Decide amongst you who's going to be A and who's going to be B. A's, I want you to push. Push. Who's pushing back? Are the B's pushing back? Yeah. Okay, you can stop now. That's a really quick example of how behaviour breeds behaviour. Your behaviour of pushing is causing the other person to do something. Now, for some people, they might, I might push and the other person might give in, so they might back off. Whatever it is I do, it doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong here. It's about understanding that our behaviour causes the behaviour in the other person. So that when you overly compete, depends on whether you've got rank and power and authority. If you happen to be the manager and you're always competing, you're definitely going to be getting yes people. If you happen to be, colleagues and you're always competing, you might end up that there's real strife and conflict in the workplace. Just depends again on who's perceived as got more status and power. Or you might end up pushing the other person's behaviour into accommodating or avoiding. So your behaviour is constantly breeding or evoking the behaviour in other people. So what you're doing is causing the results or the effect that you get back. And I think that's one of the biggest learnings for managers to get, is to understand that if they want different behaviour from other people, they need to look at what are they currently doing that's causing that behaviour. What do they need to change in themselves to give them a different result? And that may or may not be true for everybody, but just to be aware of what is it that you're doing that might be causing that behaviour in others. So if you're overusing compete and you do it all the time, the chances are you might be getting some of this stuff. And if you underuse it, if you don't ever compete, if you don't compete when it is actually necessary, what might you get? Absolutely. There may be times when actually, you don't have the influence or, decisions not made. Withholding of contribution, delayed action, there might be times where you actually do need to just stand up and say what it is that you want. And that could be quite scary if you're not used to doing it. So that's a real learning of how do I learn to fold my arms in a different way. It's about changing your behaviours at that point. Okay, so then we're just going to have a quick look at typical behaviours in meetings, let's say, that you would get from compete. Monopolising, not listening, exaggerating, blocking, talking over, about what they want. But they're great at standing up for what they want, for what they believe in. Good for getting their own needs met. May be seen as insensitive to others and selfish. Their behaviour may seem to undermine trust and goodwill, especially to accommodators. So it's very much about where are other people perceiving you. If you happen to be in accommodating, you're absolutely perceiving the compete as just being overly selfish and getting what they want and need all the time. Well, it may be appropriate that you do that.